So in cutting this lace that has the selvage at the center, the first thing you do is that you cut the back of the cloth. This gown has a zip at the back, so you first cut the back with the zipper allowance. You cut the back. So the back that you have cut now, you're now going to use it to cut the front. So the front, when you want to fold the front, you fold the selvage area facing each other. You now put the back that you have cut first, you put it on it, and then you fold the zipper allowance. I hope you understand. You fold the zipper allowance to allow you cut the front part very well. Then the way you cut the front will depend on the kind of shape that you have at that center front. For this one now, these circles that we have, they are of two different sizes. The first one we have here is bigger than the second one. If you look at it very well, the circles did not rhyme. So now the one I'll be following now will be the shorter one. You understand? So this is the one I'll be following. So I'll be sewing that lace on each other at that part from the first one to the last one. But I'll make sure that as I'm placing this back, the small circles will touch each other. I will be able to sew it. So I will give like half inch each to be able to sew that circle to each other, especially the smaller ones. If the pattern you have for the lace at the center is the same, that means you can just use like half inch for everything round like that. So you follow the pattern that you have at the center of your lace. After doing that, you would remove the pins that you use to hold the zipper allowance. You remove it so that you mark out the neck for the back. So the neck I'll be using is 3 inches by 1, then plus the zipper allowance. Don't forget the zipper allowance is already 1 inch. You understand? You know, I've already cut the shape for the back out first. So now I've opened it, the back, with the back neck already being cut out like this. You see? You open it out like this. Then you can also place the front on it. You would place the front on it, but for the front we are not cutting the neck. You know, we are using the selvage like that. So you try and place it on it to see how it is going to look. So when you place it on it, you'll be able to understand. You place it on it and you look at it, you'll be able to understand how you are going to sew that neck. The major thing we have for this tie is at that neck area. It is that neck area. So you know, we use 3 inches for the back neck plus 1 inch allowance, zipper allowance for the back neck. So that is what will be joining the front neck too. You know, we are not cutting the front neck out. We are using the selvage as it is like this. You also go ahead and sew the selvage together like this. You sew it on top of each other. If you look at it, you see that the way I'm sewing it is different because some circles are bigger than the other. And like this now, I just put it on each other a little. That's the half inch. But these bigger ones, the way I'm sewing them, I'm using more inches for this. I hope you understand. But if the shape of your selvage is the same, that means you just use like that half inch to sew it down. I started sewing the selvage from where the V-neck stops. What I'm doing here is I'm just sewing this selvage together in a very neat way. And when you're done sewing, You cut out any thread that you can see. You cut it out. And at the front part, I started sewing this selvage from length 8. That's where I want the V-neck to stop. So that's where I started this sewing at this center front from. So at this center front, I measured 8 inches before I started sewing. So at this point, I measured 7 inches from the shoulder to form the V-neck. I measured 7 inches before I started sewing the selvage down. We also call it etiaje in Yoruba. I measured 7 inches before I started sewing it together at that place. So the number of inches you use will depend on how deep you want your V-neck to be. See, I've joined it to the back. This is the back. I join it this shoulder. See where I should join it from, to the back shoulder. So I will be trimming this off. I'll be making another armhole now. I'll be trimming this off, and I will be placing it on the back before I do that. Before you trim the excess of the shoulder side out on that front part, you make sure you place the front part on the back. You let it lay flat. You be very careful, because any little mistake on this lace is going to condemn that cloth. So you let it lay very well. You can put it on the floor or on a big table. Make sure it's laying flat, so that you can see the shoulder and the excess very well before you trim it out. So the excess now is at the front part. You understand? So you trim it out. Then you can take your measurements again before you trim it out. You check your bust measurements, you check your shoulder measurements, you check your waist and everything. You check everything before you trim out. So you use whatever length you want for the V-neck. It is at the length you want that you start sewing the selvage from. So you can see the excess. You be trim it out like that. You trim it out like that so that it rhymes with the back armhole and the shoulder. So that's just the basic thing that we have to do. You trim it out. After trimming it out and you have the exact shoulder and the armhole that you want, then you can go ahead with the sewing of the sides of the gown together, and then the fixing of the sleeves, fixing of this zip and hemming, and then any other thing that you want to do. So just remember that when you're sewing this style, the first thing you have to do is to cut the back out, whether it's with zip or without zip. You cut it out, then you use the back pattern that you've cut out, you use it to cut the front. And don't forget that you place the front selvage with half an inch facing each other before you cut.